So today's topic is current electricity. So in the last session, we studied about the electric charges and field and then electric potential and capacitance. It's known that when we are studying about the electric charge and field, it will come under the branch of a physics which is called as electrostatic, because it's known that electrostatic deals with the study of charges which was in the rest position. So here we are going to study about the current electricity which will deal with the motion of a charges. So in the session we are going to study what all the things will happen when the charge is moving. So here first we are going to study about what is mean by electric current. It's known that electric current is nothing but the rate at which the electric charge flows through any cross section of a conductor, or else we can say simply the rate of change of moving of a charge. And the formula usually we will use to find the electric current is I is equal Q over T. So here Q is representing the value of charge. It's known that the charge will be measured with a unit of coulomb. And T here is representing the time, and it's known that time will be measured with a unit of second. So here we can write the unit of a current will be coulomb per second, and the SI unit of a current is nothing but ampere. So here, when we are going for our NEET exam, so sometimes we will get the questions which will say the charge is moving with a particular time interval. So that time we will use this equation I is equal dq over dt. So here dq is representing the change of a charge with respect to dt here is representing the change in a time. So this equation we will use in terms of our NEET exam. Now we are going to study what are the types of currents are there. There are two types of current mainly. Those are AC and DC current. Usually the DC current will be called as a steady current as well, or else we can say DC current is representing the direct current as well. So here by using the diagram I'm going to explain direct current or else the steady current which will not vary with respect to time. So here I just show the graph between the current and time. So here the graph which is in a blue color is representing the DC current because it was not varying with respect to the time. So this is DC current. The next important type of current is a alternating current. Alternating current is nothing but the current which will change its magnitude with respect to the time and based on a direction as well. Or else we can say the current will change alternatively with respect to the time. So usually we will show the alternating current in terms of sinusoidal wave, right? So these things you have to know about the types of current as well when you are going for the NEET and when you are going for your CBSE board exam. Now, we are going to study what is mean by conventional current. So I said what is mean by current, right? So usually the current will be defined as the rate of change of flow of charge or else the rate of flow of charge, right? So here it's a conventional current. Conventional current usually used to represent the motion of an electron is in the direction opposite to to that of motion of electron. Usually the current direction will be denoted using the direction of motion of electron. But conventional current is just opposite. It will be represented opposite to the motion of electron. So that's called as conventional current. So now we are going to study what is meant by drift velocity and what is the relation between the drift velocity and the current. So here we studied about the conventional current. Conventional current is very important because in most of the question you will get represented by the word conventional current and the question may be related with the direction. Keep it in a mind whenever you are getting the question which is related with the conventional current. The direction of the current will be opposite to the direction of motion of electron. It's not like our normal current. Okay, so just keep this in mind. Next one we are going to study about the drift velocity and the current. So drift velocity is nothing but the velocity with which the free electrons get drifted towards the positive terminal under the effect of applied electric field. Usually, the drift velocity can be calculated using a formula Vd is equal I divided by ANE. Here, I is representing the current, A is representing the area of a conductor, N is representing the number of charges, or else we can say number of charges per unit volume. And he here is representing the charge of an electron. So here, by using a drift velocity, we can calculate the current as well. By rearranging the equation, I is equal NE A times VD as well. Okay. Now the main topic for this lesson is the next main topic is a current density. So current density is nothing but at a point within a conductor, the current through a unit area of a conductor around that point, provide the area is perpendicular to the direction of flow of current at that point. So in general, the current density will be represented using a letter J, and which will be calculated using a formula I divided by E. So it's known that I can be written as N E A V D in terms of drift velocity. So here again we are dividing by A. So when we are dividing, we will get the expression N E times V D. So this is the expression we will use to find the value of current density. So now we studied all about the conventional current, drift velocity, and then current density. And we studied how the velocity, drift velocity, and the current are related as well. Now we are moving for the Ohm's law, which is very important in current electricity lesson, because Ohm's law, which is fundamental for all the current related questions on the topic. So here the electric current flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference, and we can say as an equation V is equal IR as well. So this is the law which was derived from Ohm's, right? So usually the Ohm's law, like the devices which are obeying for Ohm's law will be called as a ohmic devices. And whenever the graph between the current and the voltage is linear, we can say the given device is ohmic device, or else we can say it is obey for the Ohm's law. The device or else the instruments which is not obeying for Ohm's law will be called as non-ohmic device. So here by using this, most of the questions like you will get in your NEET exam, because they will give you the graph between current and the voltage, and they will tell you like select which is a ohmic device, which is a non-ohmic device. So keep it in a mind, if the graph given between the current and voltage is looking linear, diagonal and linear, then we can say the device is ohmic. If it is not linear, if it is looking curve or like parabola or anything, we can say that is a non-ohmic device which will not obey for the current. And here it's very important, the Ohm's law will be valid only the temperature is constant. Okay, keep this in mind. Sometimes they are asking this also in your exam. Okay, so as I said already, based on Ohm's law, we can say the current is directly proportional to the potential difference, and in terms of equation, we can say V is equal IR. So here I is representing the resistance. So resistance here is nothing but it's a property of a device which is called as resistor, right? So resistor is a device which will restrict the flow of current. That's what I just showed in this image. So voltage which will like just pull the charges from one to the next one. So here ohm, which is nothing but the resistor, which will just like restrict the flow of charge. So usually the resistance will be measured using a unit ohm. So let us see the details regarding the resistance and resistivity. So the resistance is nothing but the opposition offered by the conductor to the flow of electric current through it. And resistivity is nothing but the resistance offered by the material of a unit length and unit cross sectional area. So in general, we can say the resistance is just belongs to one device, or else we can say it belongs to resistor. But the resistivity is because of all the devices which was in the electric circuit. So usually resistivity will be used to represent the resistance of a whole circuit. And as I said already, the resistance will be calculated using a formula V divided by I by using Ohm's law, V is equal IR. So here the value of resistivity will be represented using a letter rho. So the resistivity can be calculated using a formula R times A divided by L. So here R is representing the value of resistance and A is representing the value of area of a conductor for which one we are calculating the resistivity, and L here is representing the length. So this is all about the resistance and resistivity. Now we are moving for conductance and conductivity. So conductance is nothing but the reciprocal of resistance. I said already resistance is nothing but the property of restricting the flow of current, right? So conductance is just opposite to that. So here, as I said already, the resistance will be measured with the unit of Ohm, whereas the conductance will be measured with the opposite of resistivity, right? So here we can say the unit will be mho. Okay, so here we can say the ohm will be represented by using this symbol, whereas mho will be represented by ohm symbol with power of -1. So the SI unit of the conductance is mho. Okay, so now we are moving for the temperature dependence of a resistance. So here the resistance and the temperature are related. So when a temperature is increasing, the number of collision increases due to more internal energy and the relaxation time. So because of that, we can say the resistance will also increase, or else we can say the temperature and resistance are directly proportional. So because of that, there will be the change in the internal energy and the relaxation time as well. And the formula we will use to find the temperature dependence of resistance is nothing but alpha is equal RT minus R naught divided by R naught time T. So here alpha is representing the temperature coefficient of a resistance. So by using a temperature coefficient of resistance, we can say like how the material is responding for the temperature. So now we are moving for the resistor and like how it will behave when it was connected in series and parallel connection. So before that, we have to know how to calculate the value of resistance by using the color code method. So just this is representing the type of a resistor. So in the resistor, usually we will have four or five bands. So first three bands will represent the digit of the so first three bands will represent the value of the resistor, and the third like fourth one will represent like we will have two types of resistor. So first type we can say which will have like four bands with that, and the next one will be five band with that. Let me explain the first four band. So when you are having the four bands in your given resistor, remember first two lights, first two colors are representing the like the value of a resistor, and the third band is representing the multiplier, and the fourth band is representing the tolerance is nothing but like how much like the value of uncertainties will given. Okay, and in case of five band we can say first three bands will give us a values of resistance, and the fourth band will give us a multiplier, and the fifth band will give the value of tolerance. So this is how we have to calculate the resistance value by using a resistor color code method. So now how the resistor will behave when it was connected in a series. So when the resistor connected in a series, the total resistance of a circuit will get increased, because when the resistance are connected in a series connection, the total resistance will be calculated by adding the individual resistance value. And when the resistance are connected in a parallel connection, the value of total resistance will be calculated using a formula R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. And here we can say, in case of parallel circuit, the total resistance of a circuit will be less compared to the individual resistance, because here we are calculating the reciprocals, right? Now, I am moving for the internal resistance of a cell. So the opposition offered by the electrolyte of a cell to the flow of electric current through it's called the internal resistance of a cell. Or else simply we can say the resistance which was because of the battery connected in a circuit is nothing but the internal resistance. So keep it in mind, the load resistance is different and the internal resistance is different. So usually we will calculate the value of load resistance by using a formula V divided V divided by I. So in case of internal resistance, we will use a formula I is equal E divided by R plus R. So here we are just replacing the R with the addition of internal resistance. So usually we will write R is equal V divided by I, right? But here in the case of R, we are adding just two resistors, the resistance from the load resistance and the internal resistance. So just keep this in mind and make sure in the given question, the provided battery is providing the internal resistance or not. So if they mention the device which is like connected in the circuit is having less internal resistance, no need to worry. But if it is mentioned that the device is having an internal resistance, so when you are calculating the total resistance of a circuit, you have to consider the internal resistance as well. Now, let me tell you like what all the factors will affect the internal resistance of a cell. So first one, larger the separation between the electrodes of a cell, more the length of an electrolyte through which the current has to flow, and consequently higher value of internal resistance. It's known that cell is just made up of electrodes and electrolytes. So the main factor which will affect the internal resistance is distance between an electrode. And the second factor is based on the conductivity of a electrolyte. If there is the greater conductivity of electrolyte, we can say there will be the lesser internal resistance of a cell, which means the internal resistance depends on the nature of electrolyte. And the third factor is about the area. So the internal resistance of a cell is inversely proportional to the common area of a electrodes dipping in the electrolyte. So the fourth factor is about the nature of electrodes as well. So I said already, like it based on the distance between the electrodes. It not only distance, it's about like which material we used to prepare the electrode as well. Now we are moving for the next one. The next one is a Kirchhoff's law. So it's known that there is two types of Kirchhoff's law, Kirchhoff's first and second law, which will be used to like solve the given circuit. So Kirchhoff's first law will be also called as the junction law. So here we can say the current entering the node will be equal to the current leaving the node. And when we are considering the circuit, it's known when the current is entering, or else if we are considering the circuit and the direction of a current also in the same direction which path we are following. So now just imagine if there is a circuit, like there is a battery which is connected with a resistance and there is another resistance, then there is one capacitor. Okay, so if I'm considering there is two resistor R1 and R2. So now the current is going like this. Okay, so if the current is moving in this direction, so I'm just representing this is I1, I2, and this is I3. Okay, so I can say the direction of I1. So if I'm considering the circuit A, B, C, D, A, it's known that whenever we are having a Kirchhoff's law, we will always take the closed path. So here we will take a path A, B, C, D, A, right? So when we are taking, we can write the current as I1 plus I2 minus I3 will be equal to 0, because here the direction of a current 3 is opposite to the path what we are following, right? So here we can say it will have a negative direction, and the sum of a current in a circuit will be equal to 0, or else we can say like what we said, the current entering the junction will be equal to the current leaving the node, right? So this is Kirchhoff's first law, or else we can say Junction's law, or else we can say current law. Okay, now Kirchhoff's second law is called as Kirchhoff's voltage law, right? So this is Kirchhoff's voltage law, right? So this is Kirchhoff's first law is a current law, second law is the voltage law, right? Now, so in the case of second law, it's known that the sum of voltage drops around the loop is equal to 0. Similarly, what we did for the current, here we are doing for a voltage. Okay, so make sure you study properly the Kirchhoff's law, uh, because when you're going for a NEET, most of the questions will come from this part in case of current electricity. Okay, now the next one is the application of Kirchhoff's law. The first application is Wheatstone bridge. The second application is the meter bridge experiment. Right. So the first one is a Wheatstone bridge. Wheatstone bridge, it's known that it's a balanced bridge which will be used to find the value of resistance by using the equation P divided by Q will be equal to R divided by S. So when it was balanced, it's known that the galvanometer in the circuit will show null deflection. Okay, the next one is a meter bridge. The meter bridge will also used to find the unknown resistance which was connected in the circuit. So here we have two resistance RS which is connected with the meter bridge. So if we didn't know the value of resistance R, by using this expression S times L1 divided by 100 minus L1, we can calculate the value of unknown resistance. So these two are the application of Kirchhoff's law, right? Now we are moving for the potentiometer. Potentiometer is also one of the application of Kirchhoff's law. So here, when the current flows through the potentiometer wire of a uniform cross-sectional area and the uniform composition of material, we can say the voltage will be directly proportional to the length of the material. So here we will have a jacky. So we will just move the jacky in a potentiometer. When the galvanometer is showing the, like, we can check like for corresponding length what is the value of voltage by using a galvanometer, right? Because it's known that galvanometer which will be used to show whether like the current is present or no. So here we can select the balance point. So when we are like putting the jacky on a line, like on a material of a line given in the potentiometer, we can see the galvanometer is showing a null deflection. So we can say at that length value, the meter bridge, like the potentiometer given, is balanced. So the balance point is obtained for a cell when the potential at a point on a potentiometer wire is equal and opposite to the EMF of a cell. And whenever we are drawing the graph between the potential and the length, it will be diagonal linear line. Okay, and when you are writing this in a equation form, it can be written as V is equal K times L. Okay, and here in the case of potentiometer, like how we used for a bridge, like Wheatstone bridge, here P divide S, we will use the balancing equation E1 divided by E2 is equal L1 divided by L2. So this is all about the current electricity topic. So now I'm just going to revise from the first, then we can solve the related question. So first one is about the electric current. We said like the electric current is nothing but the rate at which the electric charge flows through any cross sectional area of a given conductor. And the formula we will use here is I is equal Q over T. And we studied about the types of current as well. And the second, we studied about the conventional current and the drift velocity and the current density. Then we studied about the Ohm's law, which is very important, and you have to know the equations as well, and you have to know what is meant by non-ohmic and ohmic devices, and make sure that like when you're answering related with the Ohm's law, is the temperature of the system or a object was like kept as a constant. Okay, the next one we studied about the resistance, conductance, conductivity, and the temperature dependence of a resistance. Then we moved for the connections related with the resistor, and then we moved for the internal resistance and the factors affecting internal resistance. Then finally we moved for the Kirchhoff's two laws and then the application of the Kirchhoff's law. So now I'm just giving like 2 minutes of time. So if you people have any doubts regarding the topics what we studied now, you can like post your questions in a chat box. Then like we can start the solving a question from the past NEET papers. Okay. So I'm just waiting for your questions. So then we can start from this question. Okay, let's start solving the question. Okay, so now the question here is calculate the magnitude and the direction of current for a given circuit. So in this circuit, we have three resistor, 2 ohm, 1 ohm and 7 ohm resistor. And we have two batteries which is have one is having 10 volt, another one is having a 5 volt. So here it's known that the value of current will be equal to V divided by R. But here we have two voltage from two batteries. So we have to say like the net voltage divided by the net resistance because we have more than one resistor as well. So here first we are going to calculate the net voltage. So here we can say the voltage will be equal to E1 minus E2 because it's known that when it was connected in a series and when we are using the Kirchhoff's law, it should be subtracted, right? So we can write 10 minus 5, which will be equal to 5 volt. Similarly, the value of net resistance. Here the resistance are connected in a series, right? When the resistance are connected in a series, it's known that the total resistance will be equal to the individual sum of a resistance. So we can write R1 plus R2 plus R3. So here we can name R1 will have a 2 ohm, R2 as 1 ohm, R3 as 7 ohm. So we can write 2 plus 1 plus 7, which will be equal to 10 ohm. So now we can calculate the current very easily, which will be equal to 5 divided by 10. So which will be equal to 0.5 ampere. Now we got the magnitude. Now we have to say the direction. So here it's given that the 0.5 ampere will move from A to B through E, right? This is wrong. This is correct only because whenever the two batteries are connected, the charge will move from the higher side to lower side, right? So it will move from A to B only. So the correct answer for this question is option C. Now let us move for the next question. So here the next question is about calculating the resistance. Here it's given that the galvanometer does not show any deflection in a circuit, and that time we have to calculate the value of R. So here we have one resistor which is connected in a series, and there is another resistor. We are going to find that value only, and we have two batteries as well. So it's known that when there is no reading on a galvanometer, the current will be equal to the V divided by R. So here for a 400 ohm only, because we said there is no deflection, right? So there will be only this part. So we can write it will be equal to 8 divided by 400, because the voltage from the battery will be equal to 8 volt. Here we have two batteries, right? 10 volt and the 2 volt. So as I said already in the previous question, the net will be equal to E1 minus E2. So we can write 8 volt. That's why I mentioned 8 here. Divided by the resistance 400. So which will be equal to 1 divided by 50. So we can say this is a value of the resistor, the current in a resistor 400 ohm. So now we are going to calculate the resistance of resistance R, which is mentioned in the question. So here we can write IR, the current in the resistance R will be equal to V divided by. So here we calculated the resistance in a 400 ohm resistor, right? So this is also IR only. So we can write 1 over 50 will be equal to 2 divided by R. When we are simplifying this, we can write R will be equal to 100 ohm. So the correct answer for this question is option D. Now let us solve the next question. So the next question here is about find the third color band of a given resistor value. So here the resistor value is given as 22,000 plus or minus 5%. So we can solve this question by using a color code. So here it's given in the question, the resistor is having three bands almost, right? So here if we are checking the color code, we can say like the given question is 2200 plus or minus 5%, right? So the first one will represent the red color. From the table, like from the chart, we can say 2 is for a red color, right? Now the second one also is 2, so we can say that's also red color. And the third one, we can say it's multiple of like three multiples of 10, right? So 10 power. So we can say it is a multiplier, right? So 10 power 3000 is the orange color. So this will represent the orange color, and plus or minus 5 is representing the tolerance. The tolerance is plus or minus means, which is representing the gold color, right? So here the question is about third band. So we can say the third band will be the orange color. So the correct answer here will be option D. Now we are moving for the next question. It's very simple question, but make sure that you know like the numbers of colors. Okay. Now we are moving for the next question. So I'm just giving 5 minutes for you people. You can try to solve this question. And you can just post your answers in a chat box. I'm waiting for your answers. I'm waiting for the answer. You can like say which option is correct. Option A, B, C, D. So I didn't get any answer from you people. I'm just waiting. Okay, I will wait for 1 more minute. If I didn't get any answers, I will just solve for you people. Okay? Yeah, I'm waiting. So 1 more minute. Okay, that is there are answers you people are telling. Okay, very good. Yeah, C is the correct answer. 100 is the correct answer. Okay, let me solve this question. So here it's given in the question 10 resistor, each of resistance R is connected in a series to a battery of EMF E and negligible internal resistance. So here, the resistance which was connected in a series then connected in a parallel to the same battery, and the current is increased for n times after the reconnection. So here we have to calculate what is the value of n, or else we can say how much time it was increased. So here it's known that when the series are connected in a when the resistance are connected in a series connection, the total resistance will be equal to the individual sum. So here it's given in the question 10 resistor, each is having equal amount of resistance, right? So we can write 10 times R, right? So now we can calculate the resistance, the value of current in a series connection is equal V divided by R. So here we can write the value of V, the voltage from a battery is E because it's given as E. So E divided by 10R. So this is the value of current when it was connected in a series connection, right? Now, in case of parallel connection, what will happen in case of parallel connection for the resistance? It's known that when we are calculating the total resistance in terms of parallel connection, it will be equal to 1 divided by R1, 1 divided by R2 plus etc. plus 1 divided by R10, right? So here we can write 1 divided by Rp is equal 10 divided by R, or else from this we can write the total resistance in terms of parallel connection will be equal to R divided by 10. So now we have a value of R. So let us calculate the value of current in a parallel circuit. So similarly we can write it will be equal to E divided by R parallel. So here we can write E divided by R divided by 10, or else it can be written as 10E divided by R. So now we have a value of total current in case of parallel circuit, right? Now, so here we have a value of current in terms of parallel connection, current in terms of series connection. So here we can compare this and we can calculate like how many times it was increased. So it's given in the question, the parallel current will be the n times of the series current, right? So here we can write n will be equal to IP divided by IS. Now we can apply the values. So it will be 10E divided by R divided by E divided by 10R. So when we are simplifying this, we will get the answer of 100. So the number of times increased, the current increased for 100 times. So that's why the answer here is option C. Good. Like those who answer like option C in a chat box, good, very good. Um, Keep it up. Okay. I'm just moving for the next question. Okay. So here first we have to calculate the effective conductivity, right? So it's known that the effective conductivity can be calculated by calculating the total effective resistance. So for two identical wire with the same cross-sectional area and the length, the effective conductivity can be found with a relationship L plus L divided by sigma effective times A is equal L divided L divided by sigma 1a plus L divided by sigma 2a. So now we can like simplify the terms like which is similar. When we are simplifying, we will get 2 divided by sigma effective is equal 1 divided by sigma 1 plus 1 divided by sigma 2. So here again we can write the effective conductivity will be equal to 2 sigma 1 sigma 2 divided by sigma 1 plus sigma 2, right? So this is the correct answer for this question. So you most of the people you all have said the correct answer for this question. Okay, great. Now we are moving for the next question. Okay, so here we have to calculate the value of current. It's given in the question. Your circuit contains an ammeter and the battery with a resistance 48 ohm. And here all are connected in series. So first we can draw the diagram. So here there is a resistance which is having a resistance of 40.80 ohm, and there is one ammeter as well, and there is a 30-volt battery. So I can draw like 30-volt battery, and it is given that the ammeter has a coil of resistance 480 ohm and shunt resistance of 20 ohm. So here we can write there is a ammeter, and then like this ammeter is having a resistance of 480 ohm, right? And it's given that there is a shunt resistance, it's known that it will be connected with the ammeter in a parallel connection, so it was given as 20 ohm. So this is our circuit. So here we are going to calculate the value of current, right? So it's known that current can be calculated using a formula V divided by R. So for that, first we have to calculate the value of total resistance, whereas V is from the battery which is given as 30 volt in the question. So for calculating the total resistance, it's known that we can use the parallel connection formula. So when we are using the parallel connection formula to calculate the total resistance, it can be written as 480 ohm times 20 ohm divided by 480 plus 20 for the parallel circuit. For this circuit I'm writing. So which will be equal to 19.2 ohm. Now we have another resistance which is connected in the series. So we can say the effective resistance will be R total plus 40 plus 8. So we can write 90.2 plus 40.8. So which will be equal to 60. So now we have a voltage and the resistance. So we can write the current will be equal to voltage 30 divided by the value of resistance 60. When we are simplifying this, we will get zero point 0.5 and the unit will be ampere. So the correct answer for this question is option B here. Okay. So this is how you have to answer for this question. So keep it in mind whenever you are getting the questions which is just related with the connection. Just try to make a diagram. When you are making a diagram, it is it will be like very easy to solve the question. Okay. So just first draw the diagram, then just try to get the total resistance of a circuit, and then try to calculate which current you which quantity you want to calculate. Okay, I'm just moving for the next question, so you people can solve and you can post your answer in the chat box. I'm waiting for your answer. Okay. It's a very easy question. You can use a mobility formula directly and you can solve it very easily. Okay, so I'm just going to write just the mobility formula. So mobility is equal Vd divided by E, right? Vd is the drift velocity and E here is representing the value of the electric field. So both are given. Just apply the values and tell me the answer. Yes, very good. It's a very simple question. Yeah, very good. The correct answer is option D. Yes, the value of Vd here, the drift velocity is given as 7.5 times 10 to the power negative 4, and the value of electric field is given as 3 times 10 to the power negative 10. So we can just divide directly 7.5 times 10 to the power negative 4 divided by 3 times 10 to the power negative 10. When we are simplifying this, we will get 2.5 times 10 to the power 6. And it's known that the unit of a drift mobility in terms of drift velocity and electric field is meter square per second times volt. So the correct answer for this question is option D only. Yes, very good. You people did a good work. Okay, I'm moving for the next question. So here the question is regarding again the color code. So it's a very easy question. Okay. So I'm just giving giving 2 minutes for you people. You can just answer me which option is correct. Yeah, very good. I will just show you the color code. Like I just showed the color code in the during the class also, so you people can tell me using that as well. So here the first color is yellow, right? So yellow is the number of 4, right? And the second one here is a violet. It's known that violet will have a color of 7, right? And third one is a brown, and it's known that the third color will represent the multiplier, right? For a brown, it's known that the multiplier will be 10 to the power 1, right? And the next one is a gold color. So the gold color tolerance will be plus or minus 5%, right? So here we can write the value of a given resistor will be 47 times 10 to the power 1 plus or minus 5%. Or else we can write 470 plus or minus 5% in terms of O. So we can write it will have the resistance value of 470 ohm and tolerance of 5%. So the correct answer here is option B. In chat box, everybody said the correct answer. Very good. Now I'm moving for the next question. Yeah, I think you people need help on this question. It's a very easy question. I told you already, just try to make a diagram for a given question. Here it's given in the question, a resistance wire connected in a left gap of a meter bridge, balance of 10 ohm. So let me draw the meter bridge. Okay, so there will be two resistance, right? Okay, I'm just representing. Here, I'm just going to represent the resistance as R and S. It's given that the 10 ohm resistance is connected in the right gap. So this is a 10 ohm resistor. And here it's given the bridge was divided in a ratio of 3 is to 2. So we can say the length will be 3 for a particular point and 2 will be the next one because it was separated in that ratio. And the length of a given resistant wire is given as 1.5 meter, um, and the resistance is given as O1 ohm. Okay, so it's known that whenever we are having a meter bridge, we can use the balancing equation R divided by S. Here is 3 over 2, right? So here we can write R will be equal to 3 divided by 2 times S. So we can write 3 divided by 2 will be equal to 3 divided by 2 times 10, because it's known that when we are having a like a potentiometer bridge, divided by S will be equal to L1 divided by. So here it's given in the question, it is having a ratio of 3 over 2. That's why I just kept 3 R over S is equal 3 over 2. Right? When we are simplifying this, it will be equal to 15 ohm. So now we have a value of resistance R, right? So here it's given in the question for 1.5 meter, it is having a resistance of, so here we can, from this we can say for 1.5 meter, the resistance will be 15 ohm, right? So we can say the length is 1 ohm from the question. So now we can write 1.5 divided by L. So just we are doing the ratio here. 1.5 divided by L will be equal to 15 divided by 1. Again, we are using the balancing equation of a meter bridge only. So when we are simplifying this, L will be equal to 1.5 divided by 50, which is equal to 0.1 meter. Or we can write this as 1 times 10 to the power negative 1 meter. Moving for the next question, the answer.
Ini, ya, ya koma, hai ka koma. Da kana pa naman ko. Tama. Tada, bye bye. Bye. Michine, 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 mama, michine, mama, michine, mama. Michine, mama. Michine, mama.
So first make a diagram for a given question, then it will be very easy to solve it. So here two resistors are connected in a parallel connection. Just make a diagram of that. Then you can use the formula of a power to calculate the needed value. So here two resistors are connected in a parallel, right? Okay. So yeah, I'm just getting the correct answers. Yeah, very good. Option A is the correct answer. Very good. So here first we have to calculate the total resistance. So here the question is regarding the ratio of a thermal energy developed in two given resistor, right? So we are going to calculate the ratio of thermal energy developed, which with respect to time. So we are calculating energy over time. Energy over time is a power, right? So we are just calculating the power 1 and power 2 in the resistor 1 and 2. So here we can write the value of power is equal V square divided by R. So here it is connected in the parallel connection, right? So there will be no change in the value of voltage. So we can say the power will be directly proportional to 1 over R. So from that we can write P1 will be directly proportional to 1 divided by R1 and P2 will be inversely proportional to R2, right? So here when we are writing this in an equation, it will be equal to P1 over P2 is equal R2 divided by R1, right? Now we have a value of resistance 2 and 1. So resistance 2 is 200 ohm, resistance 1 is 100 ohm. So 200 divided by 100, which will be equal to 2 over 1. So the ratio of thermal energy developed in a resistor with respect to time will be equal to 2 is to 1. So make sure whether they are asking the ratio of energy or the power. So if it was only given find the ratio of thermal energy developed, it's just energy. But here it's given the question, calculate the ratio of thermal energy developed in a resistor with respect to time, right? So we are calculating power. Just read the question twice, then answer the question. Okay, so here the answer is A. Now I'm moving for the next question. I'm expecting the answer from you people. Yeah, you can start now. It's also very easy question. It's just a direct question as well. You can solve it very easily. So here the current question is regarding the current density. Yeah, I will just write the formula for you people, then it will be very easy to solve it. It's known that the current density can be calculated using a formula sigma times E, right? So here we don't have a value of sigma, so we can, like, sigma is representing the conductivity, right? We don't have a value of conductivity, but we have a value of resistivity, or else we can find the value of resistivity by given details, right? So we can write E divided by rho, right? So here again the rho can be written as RA divided by L, right? So the value of current density will be equal to EL divided by RA, right? Now I just wrote the equation. Now you people can solve it very easily. Solve it and let me know the answer. Yes, here only we don't have a value of area. I hope you people know how to find the area. Area will be calculated using a formula pi r square, right? So the actual equation we are going to use here is EL times R divided by R times pi r square, right? Now we have all the values, but here we don't have a value of R, right? We just have a value of radius in terms of pi. Okay, just apply all the values. You will get the value of current density as what? What you people got it? Yeah, very good. Most of them said 10 to the power 5. Option C. Yeah. So here E will be, E was given as 10 volt per meter, right? So we can write 10 and the length is also given as 10 divided by the resistance is 10 ohm again, and pi, the value of radius is given as 10 to the power negative 2 divided by root pi. So don't forget to apply the square here. When we are simplifying everything, you will get the value of current density as 10 to the power 5 and the unit will be ampere per meter square. Okay, very good. So you people did a good work. Okay, I'm moving for the next question. So try to answer for this question. This is also a very easy question. It's like it's just a direct question. So we are just calculating the power loss, which means we are calculating only the power, right? Yeah, just do it. Just check what are all the details are given in a question, like, and then just decide like which formula you are going to use it. So, like in case of electricity, just you have to follow two things. First one, like you have to like you have to know like which details are given, and like you have to know how to draw the circuit for a given question. And then second thing, you have to know like which formula we can apply here. Okay, that's the two important thing you have to do as a first thing here. Okay, so here just solve the question and let me know the answer.
Đi bán xanh để tới hồi không rồi.
Okay, so here we are going to calculate the power, right? Yeah, most of them said the correct answer. Option B is the correct answer. Okay, very good. So here the power is calculate can be calculated using a formula V squared divided by R. So here V is representing the voltage. So here the voltage is given as 8 volt, but it's for only 1 kilometer, right? But here we are calculating for 150 kilometers. So we can write the voltage here will be equal to 150 times 8. And R is representing the resistance. Again, the resistance is given as zero point 0.5 for 1 kilometer. So we can write the resistance is equal zero point 0.5 times 150. Okay, now we are going to just apply the values. So when we are applying the values, power will be equal to 150 times 8 whole power 2 divided by zero point 0.5 times 150. Okay, so when we are simplifying this, we will get the answer of 19.2 kilowatt. So this is the value of power loss. Okay, so now I'm moving for the next question. Okay, I'm just leaving this question for you people. It's a very easy question. You can solve it and you can tell me your answer in a chat box. Yeah, here the question is regarding calculating the RMS value, right? Yeah, very good. Getting the correct answer. Yeah, most of them is telling the answer. Yeah, very good. Yeah, the correct answer here is option A. Very good. Yeah, you people are doing very good. Yeah, very good. Okay, so here I will tell you like how you have this question. It's known that the value of RMS current will be calculated using a formula V divided by XC, whereas V is representing the voltage and XC is representing the impedance of a capacitor, right? So the impedance can be calculated using a formula 1 divided by 2 pi fc, right? So here we can apply the value. So the RMS value will be equal to V times 2 pi fc, right? F here is representing the frequency, V is representing the voltage. Now we can apply the value. So 200 times 2 pi times 50 times C here is representing the capacitance, which is given as 40 microfarad, right? So we can write 40 times 10 to the power negative 6. When we are simplifying this, we will get the answer of 2.512 ampere. So this is the value of RMS current. So the correct answer here is option A, as you people said. Okay, I'm just moving for the next question. Yes, we solved this question already, right? I'm just moving for the next question. Okay, this is a very easy and simple question. Okay, so here it's given in the question, a wire of resistance 4 ohm is stretched to twice its original length. What will happen to the resistance of stretched wire? Here, it's known that the resistance can be calculated using a formula rho L divided by. So here it's given in the question, this wire was stretched for twice its original length. So if I'm going to take L as a original length, after the stretching, we can write the length will be 2L, right? So it's known that whenever it was stretching, there will be the change in its radius also. So the radius will be like similarly like will be like reduce the same amount, right? So we can write if the area initial is A. After stretching, it can be written as A over 2, right? So now we can write the resistance value is equal rho times 2L divided by A divided by 2, right? So when we are writing, like when we are simplifying this, we can write like 4 times of rho L divided by A, whereas rho L divided by A is representing our initial resistance, right? So we can write R is equal 4 times of initial resistance. So here the value of initial resistance is given as 4 ohm, right? So we can write 4 times 4, which will be equal to 16 ohm. Okay, so this is the value of resistance after the value after the wire was stretched. Okay, so here the correct answer is option C. Okay, so now we have only 4 minutes left, so you can see the similar. So now we have only 4 minutes with us, so you can see this video. You can see this video in our portal. You can see this video in our portal, and like when you if you want to like practice more question related to the topic, you can like visit our site and you can like filter the questions and you can do the minimums as well. Okay, so I'm just keeping the chat box open. If you people have any doubts, you can ask your question related to the class, and if you want to know about like more coaching and like more details, you can visit our site and you can book the classes with us as well. Okay, I'm just stop sharing my screen and I'm opening my chat box. You people can like ask your questions here.